Hello and welcome to the Oxygen Addict Triathlon podcast. We're brought to you every week by our sponsors PrecisionHydration.com.
Precision Hydration offer electrolyte drinks in different strengths to match how you sweat. Personalise your hydration strategy today at precisionhydration.com and get a free box or tube of pH worth up to $9.99 using the code OxygenAddict.
And we're also brought to you by Thriver.co.
Taking health tracking to a new level with your personalised at-home finger prick blood test. You can get £30 off your first test with the code OxygenAddict30.
Cool. Welcome to the show, everybody. Hell's dawn is breaking outside the window as we sit and chat.
I think yes, that is very true. Dawn is breaking, and not this morning, Rob, but last week I think I felt like I had two walks of shame.
Right, go
dodgy,
on.
doesn't it?
It does a bit. Go on.
Early turbo, but the turbo's in the garage, and then to get back into the house, you have to sort of walk outside. And by the time I come back out of the garage, I'm there in my, cycling shorts and pretty much just a bra. So I always think it's like a walk of shame, but obviously no one could see me because it's my back garden. So does anyone else have that? I don't know. Might just be me.
I did have and I was back on the turbo last night, Hells. There's my big news. And I did think to myself, turbo's now set up in the living room in front of the TV in a kind of, look at me, you could be riding me rather than sitting on your fat bum watching telly. And I thought, I've got some like kind of first floor picture windows in the living room.
Yep.
I thought, unless I close those curtains, all the neighbours at the back are going to be thinking, why is that guy half naked riding his bike in the living room? So it's like, yeah, close the curtains a bit. Let's get a bit done so I can relate a little.
Yeah, there you go.
Stuff. All right, guys, this week we have got interviews with you from both Jodie Stimpson and Nikki Bartlett. Hells, you've been down in Loughborough, haven't you? Having a little investigative journalist around this setup at Loughborough. Tell us all about that.
Yeah, so I went down to Loughborough this last week, and it's where British Triathlon are based. So I spent the day following Jodie Stimpson around, which was actually the morning following Jodie Stimpson around, which was really cool. So met him bright and early at the pool, watched them swim, and then basically then the morning revolved around food because I went to Breakfast Club with him, which is an amazing thing that they do every week. Then we went and had breakfast. We looked around the Athlete Hotel as well, which is an incredible facility in Loughborough aimed at elite athletes, and the England women's rugby team were there while we were there having breakfast, and like the men's rugby team will be going there at some point, and I guess part of it is the incredible facilities on the doorstep, so everything is there, but also you can alter the altitude of the rooms. So you can go and you can have it, or you could set it if you really wanted to the altitude of Everest Base Camp. So you can sleep at altitude. How cool is that? And then like the whole of the canteen and everything, restaurant I should say, is the food is all geared towards triathletes. So yeah, that was really cool. And then went to the gym, followed them around, and met Claire Cashmore. So met lots of the Paratri team. And then, as you'll hear in a bit, I got an interview with Nikki. Basically, I went and had a cup of tea and a piece of cake with her the day before, and bumped into Jodie at the pool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we'll look forward to hearing that later on then.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool stuff. All right, so let's jump into the meat of the show then, shall we? We've got results this week from all over the shop. First off, let's give a shout out to our sponsors, Thriver. It's blood test time for me, Hells. I got the results back. Yeah.
So what happened?
Well, so game of two halves for me. Let's rewind back 4 or 5 months or so. And the reason I ended up doing these blood tests was because I was just feeling knackered all the time. And I was like, and you can just tell something's not right. It's not like a sickness, but you just feel flat. And I was falling asleep in the middle of the afternoon, and my mood was up and down. And I thought to myself, do you know what? There's definitely something going on here. So long story short, loads of my vitamin levels were completely up and down and all over the place, or really low. And my testosterone levels were ridiculously low as well. So that was the big worry for me at the time, was like, what do you do? So I went to the doctors. My GP basically said, well, you're going to have to start taking, she actually said, well, you're going through the male menopause. You're just going to have to take testosterone for the rest of your life. And I was like, what? What's that now?
Really?
Yeah. So and this is going to sound really, I didn't know, like, is the male menopause a real thing rather than just something
Yeah.
people talk about? So I came back and I did loads and loads of research about it. And the first thing was, before going on, like, the testosterone therapy is essentially you either get injections or you get an implant or you rub testosterone gel on yourself every day for the rest of your life. And
Yeah.
I was like, I do not fancy that at all. That there's got to be another way around it. So I did loads and loads and loads of research and came up with all different manner of herbs and spices and things that are supposed to help and can help in different areas, and talked to a couple of athletes I tracked down through social media who've had these kind of levels, and a couple of pro athletes actually who had been very good about blogging about their experience with testosterone levels getting hammered. So I found some supplements that I took and I thought, well, I'll take these first. I don't want to be involved in, like, basically it looks like if you start using testosterone gel, that's it, you're on it for life because your body just stops making it naturally. And I thought, God, I don't want to be involved in that. So anyway, the good news is my testosterone levels have come back up to the normal kind of levels by using supplements and changing my diet a little bit, which is really good. So that's been a good thing that's come out of it. However, the bad thing is my vitamin B12 is still, like, it's gone worse than it was before. So,
Really?
yeah, it started out in deficient. It went back just into the kind of, what do they call it? Not normal, but not deficient, kind of in that, like, amber area. And it's gone back down into being deficient again. So I think what's happened there is I kind of saw an improvement. I was taking B12 supplement tablets, got busy over the summer, went away on holiday, didn't really take them with me. Forgot about taking the supplements, essentially.
Okay, so stop taking them.
Yeah, basically. So I've now switched back to, one of our listeners gave me a heads up and said, look, you don't want to take tablets, you want to take it in a liquid form. But it was really expensive. So now I'm on that, basically. I'm on the, I've got to get to grips with this. I've got to take much more of it than I thought and get it back into the normal level. So I'll monitor that again in 4 weeks and see where it's got back to.
Yeah.
But I was reflecting, it's one of those things where in our mind's eye, we think of ourselves as being 19 again and everything's going to be fine all the time. And I think I've got to accept I'm closing in on 50 years old. I've got to take this stuff seriously. I don't like to think of myself as a person who has to take supplements in order to maintain health, let alone fitness. But the evidence clearly says that I do. So perhaps, learn from the mistakes other people have made and start really taking this stuff seriously. And it's what I've got to have first thing in the morning every day, whether I want to or not, is essentially my takeaway message. So yeah, I'm going to test again in another month and see if those B12 levels have come up, because pretty much everything else has. That's the interesting thing. Like, taking the supplements has brought vitamin D back up, and all those other things are fine. So if I can just get on top of the B12, I feel as though, yeah,
I guess
it's headed in the right direction. That's the thing.
well, that's good. And if it does not, then actually
I'm going to the doctor's.
face-to-face doctor.
Yeah. Well, the difficult thing is, right, my face-to-face doctor was a bit like, and I'm sure other people experience this, if you're on the NHS, your GP kind of goes, okay, well, I can send you to the endocrinologist at the hospital, but I don't really have any experience of this. Like, the GP that I saw was she looked about 12. I'm sure she was about 22. But she obviously deals with, like, general GP stuff rather than a person saying, I've had private blood tests done, what do we do about this? So it's kind of hard to know where to go to get the advice on all of this stuff if you're like an athlete trying to keep the levels in an athletic level. So yeah, it might be the old B12 injection in the bum, like those pro cyclists next time, mightn't it? Maybe that'll be my next update, Hells. Rob learns to inject his own bum with B12.
Oh, God.
We shall see.
Oh,
anyway, so
gosh.
if any of this stuff sounds like it's resonating with you and you think you'd benefit from having your blood levels tested, get over to thriver.co. You get £30 off your first test with the code OxygenAddict30. Right, racing, Hells. Let's first kick off with, did you watch this live? Did you get to see any of it?
I was on a course all weekend, so I didn't get to see Ironman Florida, but see the I did see the excitement growing on social media. I think
Yeah,
Kirsten, I think it was, first of all was like, "Oh my God, look at Joe Skipper go!"
yeah, yeah. So headline news for anyone who's not seen it: Joe Skipper took the win. He went 7:46. He didn't have the greatest swim. I think he lost 5 minutes or so to the main pack in the swim. So I'm like a 56 or 55.
54, wasn't it? Was it
Was that
54?
54?
I
Okay,
think it was a 54,
let
but
me have a
yeah.
quick look. It was a 54, was it? But then just absolutely nailed it, didn't he, on the bike?
Mm. Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
He did a 4:05. Because
Which is,
Starkey had been talking about going for the 4-hour bike split, hadn't he?
yeah, he
And
had.
then Starkey did a 4:01.
Um, and I think, I like hats off. We'll come around to him in a minute, won't we? Because he's had a decent race as well. So Joe puts a 4:05 together, and then he gets off the bike with Ben Hoffman sort of 5 or 6 minutes behind him. And Ben Hoffman was eating away at his lead. Headline figure: Joe Skipper wins 7:46, closing it with a 2:39:01 marathon, and he just looked brilliant on the run. I had it open on the laptop as we were having dinner, and even like my girlfriend's kids who were not interested in this at all were going, "Wow, this is amazing!" Like just having it on in the background was really cool.
Mm.
Ben Hoffman was chipping away at the lead, and it got to about 19 miles, and we were doing the maths, and he'd closed about 10 seconds a mile over the preceding couple of miles, and it looked like if he kept on going, it could come right down to it in the final mile. But
Mm.
anyway, Joe obviously gritted his teeth and picked the pace back up again. Ben Hoffman finished second with a 2:36 marathon. It's just, and he obviously, I think he eased off, or it looked like he was obviously really hurting in the last few miles, and he definitely backed it off in the last mile down the home straight. He could have run 2:35 something for sure if he'd kept on pushing a bit.
Oh,
Regardless, it was the third fastest ever marathon in an Ironman.
yep, yep. I mean,
So yeah, it's nuts, isn't
it's
it?
it is absolutely nuts, and obviously Ben sort of coming in off the back of fourth at Kona, isn't he?
Yeah,
Joe sixth at Kona.
yeah.
So then to put out these performances now, and they've both now qualified for Kona next year. So, you know, job done. Ben Hoffman says mission accomplished. Kona qualified, done early this year. It didn't come easy. Pushed to my maximum on the day by these two guys, i.e. Skipper and Starkovic, and a bunch more as well. And Starkey said something like, "Why did I not just call it a day and go to the bar? Would have been a lot less physically and emotionally painful."
That
And then he
hats off to
said,
him, man. He's done an amazing job there, hasn't he? Like he gets a
well, then
lot
he
of
said
abuse. Go on.
that it continues the trend of to beat me, you have to set records.
Well, he's gone 7:56 there, which
Exactly.
any time under 8 hours, amazing. He's not had a history of having brilliant runs off the bike, but having ridden 4:01 to then run 2:58, like God bless him. Having Skipper and Hoffman show up on that day, it's a heartbreaker for him, isn't it?
Yeah, you'd be. If you've seen Joe's post as well, I don't know if most people will probably have seen this by now, but it was quite interesting because he said back in 2013 I lined up at Ironman Florida. It was only my third Ironman try. I think I ended up finishing 10th in 8 hours 17. I remember Starkey and Victor Del Corral and Philip Ospley all finishing in under 8 hours, with Del Corral setting the course record with a 2:37 marathon. All three of them were a class above that day, and I wondered, would I ever be able to do that? I was over 20 minutes behind, and I thought, I've got a long way to go if I'm ever going to get to that level. So I'm over the moon to come back 6 years later and get pushed all the way by Starkey and Ben Hoffman to the win, and answer that question that yes, one day I will be able to race at that level and raise the bar with a new course record of 7 hours 46.
It's amazing, isn't it, to go that quick? And I mean, you've got to think both these guys, off the back of amazing performances at Kona, fourth and sixth,
Yeah.
turn up essentially just to pick up the slot for Kona for next year, end up having to race each other and
Yep.
put out times like that. It's, yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I think so.
Top
So, yeah,
stuff.
Good work. Good work.
So that's our race down at Ironman Florida. Next up, let's have a bit of a chat about the Noosa Try down in Australia.
So were you watching this one, Rob?
Yeah, so again, maybe I'm a little bit late to the party here. I didn't realise this. Obviously, Noosa Try's been acquired by the same group that own Ironman. So all of the coverage and stuff of it this year was exactly the same sort of Facebook Live stuff. It was listed on the Ironman website as one of their races. And obviously, it's been a massive, massive event down in Australia. It's in its 35th year. But again, it's one of those things that only ever comes across our radar in the Northern Hemisphere if you're kind of looking for it. And now that's changed, hasn't it? If they're live streaming the event, it looked absolutely amazing. It was obviously Noosa Heads is the iconic place for holding these events. They had a big old surf swell come through. They had to change the swim slightly because, the surf was breaking. It wasn't massive by surf standards, but it was probably, well overhead with the waves breaking, but really rippy as well. And so as they set the start horn off, all the pros did that thing that, do you remember what happened at Ironman Wales that year when everyone just legged it off down the beach? And that literally they ran 200 yards down the beach before jumping into the water to try and get into the rip that would tow them out through the surf. So much so that there were literally hundreds of age groupers warming up there in the water, thinking they were out of the way. And everyone was like, you could see these age groups kind of standing up and putting their hands in the air like, oh, what am I doing? I'm in the wrong place.
Oh, no.
So they kind of did an out, across, back in, and then a beach run back along to kind of help them get through the surf and the rips. Mainly because I think the rips in places were so strong, they wouldn't have been able to get back in easily through it. But
do you think, Rob, do you reckon if it had been in the UK, do you think that swim would have gone ahead at all?
Again, it's one of these things it's hard to judge the size of it, isn't it, from the beach. Usually, though, I mean, it looked chunky as they were swimming back in through it. The pros were getting to where the shore break was happening, and they were stopping swimming and looking over the shoulder and waiting for a gap between the sets. And that's usually a sign, like, a head-high wave as a surfer, if you time that wrong and you go over the falls, you're going to know about it. And so as a swimmer, you're definitely going to know about it and have an unpleasant time. So I wouldn't have fancied much swimming back in through that, to be honest. And so I think in Queensland, everyone grows up there.
This is it. This is my point. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
They can read it.
They grow up swimming in the surf from the age of whatever. But over here, I think there'd have been a lot of people in big trouble. Yeah. Anyway, so great racing. Henry Schoeman, obviously in much better form than he was when we saw him out at Super League. He nailed it on the swim, went off the front. He went off the front on the bike, and then it all came back together on the run. And he ran shoulder to shoulder with Jake Birtwistle for a while before Jake Birtwistle put a spurt in and beat him by about 10 seconds in the end. And Henry Schoeman really had a go on the run and put Jake Birtwistle into trouble, and then kind of couldn't snap the elastic, and Jake Birtwistle came by in the last mile. So that was good racing. And then on the ladies' side, Ashley Gentle took her 7th win.
That is consistency to the key, isn't it?
Yeah, it really, really is.
That's impressive. Yeah, 157.
I think Sarah Crowley was in 3rd as well, off the back of racing Kona. So that's amazing versatility in terms of racing the different distances, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. I mean, God,
she wasn't far back either. She was
minute back.
Yeah, it wasn't much, and it was mainly on the run. So, so it's great to see, like, back to the good old days of the top athletes racing across all the distances and doing well at all of them.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, top stuff. Other races I've seen then, 70.3. Oh, come on, how to pronounce it? Is it Los Cabos?
Oh, what, Los Cabos?
Los Cabos. There we go.
Yep.
Down in Mexico.
CCC, yes.
We had wins.
Very quick running.
Yeah, we had wins there for, good to see Miranda Caffrey come back. She, after a DNF at Kona, so she takes that win. And also good to see Lionel Sanders having a decent race. He took the win out there. I don't know if you saw his latest video blog update, Hells.
Go on.
So he's talking about what happened to him at Kona. And, I mean, God bless him. I sent him an email to sort of say, please get in touch with the guys at Precision Hydration. Here's their contact details. Lionel had, and in his words, a shocker at Kona. And it happened because he completely messed up his hydration strategy. Basically, in his words, he forgot about drinking. I think he had something like, let me get the numbers right here. He had 4 bottles or 5 bottles on the bike when he knew that he needed 12. And he talks about having done, after Kona, like a rough back of the fag packet maths, exercised for an hour on the bike and realised he's losing over 2 litres an hour.
Oh my God.
So he said he started the run and he was seeing stars in front of his face and he didn't know what was going on. And obviously he's got caught up in the excitement of racing and either missed bottles or forgotten to drink or whatever. But he was something like 8% dehydrated starting the run. 4, 5, 6 litres of fluid down on where we needed to be. So, like his whole thing, he's talking about water. He's talking about the importance of staying hydrated. And I'm thinking from our point of view, knowing about the electrolyte balance in water, how many grams of sodium is he down at that point if he's just concentrating on his water intake? So I literally fired him an email off, and I don't even know if he's got it because it was, his old email address from a couple of years ago. But like, please take the sweat test, get it done professionally, get your sweat rate done professionally in person by them rather than just exercising for an hour and kind of come into a rough rule of thumb. Precision hydration can actually tell him exactly how much fluid he's losing and exactly how much sodium he's losing. And we know he's the quality of guy who can be on the podium and possibly challenge for the win at Kona. But it's just not going to happen if the hydration and electrolyte element of this isn't taken care of. It's just a game ender, isn't it?
I don't really understand how you can forget to drink.
It sounds like he just got caught up in rattling through the aid stations. He says he does this really funny thing where he plays part of his own video from 2 years ago, where he says, on this video from 2 years ago, I finally figured out. Do you remember he had that good race and finished second? The important thing in this was hydration. I stayed on top of my hydration, and look at that, I had a great race. This is a note to me in the future. Watch this video 1 week before you race every Ironman in the future. Listen back to it. Hydration is the key to you having a decent race. And then it cuts back to him in the now going, why did I not listen to myself? I forgot all about this. I feel as though there's all these different parts of the puzzle and I get obsessed with one part of the puzzle and
then forget about another.
Exactly. Like, God bless him. And he goes on to talk about how he's now going to go back to working with Tilbury Davis as his coach because he needs someone to kind of go, hang on, mate, don't just focus on that bit. There's this whole bigger picture. And it's easy to see. And I think there's lessons for all of us. You can get obsessed with this one little bit and forget in Kona, if the hydration and electrolyte part of it isn't taken care of, it's game over for an athlete like him, just like it would be for me. Well, not just like it would be, because that makes it sound like I'm comparing myself to him.
No. But in any Ironman, if you don't get your nutrition and your hydration right, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and I think it underlines the importance of like knowing how much fluid and and the electrolytes that you need, and if you don't get it right, it's game over, isn't it? Yeah. So anyway, great to see him racing well over the 70.3 distance. Hopefully, do you know what? We need our listeners to start tagging him on social media, on Twitter and what's it called, Instagram, and saying, "Listen to this. Contact Precision Hydration. They can really help you." Oh, God bless him. Oh dear. Right, and last up, 70.3 South America was going on, and I wanted to flag this because, again, it's one of those races where it would be easy for us to overlook. Rudy von Berg and Pablo de Pieno Gonzalez went head-to-head on the run on this one, Hells.
Yeah.
Neither of them let up. Rudy von Berg, obviously off the back of finishing third at the 70.3 World Champs in Nice, had to run a 1:10 to break away from Pablo de Pieno Gonzalez, who ran a 1:11.
Yeah, that's nice running.
It is incredible, isn't it, what goes on in inverted commas, like the smaller races around the world.
As in the races that aren't necessarily on everyone else's radar, there's still incredible performances.
Yeah, 1:10 is just, it's getting to the point where you have to have that run in your bag to be able to run any race to beat whoever else is the really decent athlete that's shown up on the day.
Yeah.
Unreal. Right, Hells, we're going over to our interview of the week. So you've already said we've got chat from Nikki Bartlett down at Loughborough. Who else do we have?
And then Jodie Stimpson as well, who is going to be doing her first Ironman. Sorry, it's not her first Ironman 70.3, as she says in the interview, but she is going to be doing her first since 2014, her first 70.3. She's going to be racing at Bahrain.
Awesome.
So that'll be quite exciting, and it's quite funny that she says who she was racing against back in 2014, and she says that she's expecting to well, you can hear what she says about it. It was really cool actually to catch up with Jodie and to go and see Nikki face to face as well. So here you go.
Nikki Bartlett, we're actually on the sofa with Titch. This is crazy.
I know, I've not done a live interview here before. I've been on the podcast loads, but not a live one with Titch for company.
Finally get to meet Titch.
I mean, she doesn't do much. She just lies there still. Hey, Titchy. Getting old.
So how are things?
Yeah, I'm well. I'm on my off season. So yeah, just doing a bit of whatever I want when I want. I'm going to do a bit of cross country for Race Hub and just get stuck in. I used to do cross country. I wasn't great, and to be honest, I just did it as a bit of fun with some friends for Cheltenham Harriers back in
Back in the day,
like literally I was like 15, 16. Even Vicky Holland texted me yesterday. She goes, "Did you even really do it?" Because I put up, I've just bought some spikes. Haven't bought some of these for like 15 years of it. I was like, "Did you even really do the cross country?" And I was like, "No, not really." Because I used to be in the same club as her, running. So yeah, I'm gonna do some and kind of get stuck in. I mean, the first one though is next weekend, so I'm not gonna be in great shape for it.
Good luck with that.
I know, so that'll be shock to system, probably kickstart me getting back into some kind of structure and maybe a bit of intensity.
Do you enjoy the off season?
I do. I like to have a bit of time away from training peaks, and I like to get to the point where I'm craving structure rather than this is when your structure will start kind of thing. So yeah, I just focus on, I go back into a swim program pretty swiftly, otherwise that can go pretty quick, unfortunately. And I've got back into S&C as yesterday. I'm aching today. Like, it was so depressing. Like, I went back on just the really basic stuff. And I was like, I'll lighten the loads. And Steve, the S&C coach, like, yeah, don't put too much load on so you don't ache too much tomorrow. And I'm like, oh my God, like, it's embarrassing how much I ache. So yeah, my glutes are definitely activated now. So yeah, just do that, and then just a bit of going into the trails. Like, I went for a run yesterday, didn't take a watch, and just don't know how long I was out for, and just switched off the podcast and that kind of stuff. I'm not great cycling in winter because I'm just it's a bit cold, so I tend to have quite a bit of time off cycling at this point of time of year until the camps start.
And do you have a mountain bike at all? Because you see quite a few people out on their mountain bikes,
yeah,
like
loads.
pros at this time of year.
Yeah, loads of people get involved, which is great, but I'm so clumsy, I just fall off. Like, not great. I prefer to go out running on the trails and mountain biking, but yeah, like, I'd love to be able to do it well, but I just know, well, to be honest, I've tried it before and just kept falling off.
Maybe stay clear. Yeah. So how would you look back then on your 2019 season?
Yeah, like, it's been brilliant. Like, we were at the beginning of January, like, kind of thinking about what I'd be really pleased with, and I guess everything what's happened this year I'd been absolutely over the moon with if you told me this would be kind of my end of season reflecting on 2019. So yeah, I'm very pleased, and I know there's loads more to come, which is exciting. So yeah, I've managed to get my first win after 3-4 years of trying as a professional. So then came 2, which is great. And yeah, I've just had loads of fun this year, and kind of have my new roles of British Para Guide has been absolutely fantastic. It's kind of given me a new lease of life for the sport, and kind of given me more motivation in training, and going into an exciting year next year for trying to qualify for Tokyo. So yeah, it's been fantastic, and yes, like, I'm absolutely over the moon with 2019 and can't wait for 2020.
How was Kona for you this year?
Yeah, it's a funny one because everyone's like, how did you feel after the race? And I just love the build-up. It's like a little circus there. It's just absolutely fantastic. I just love getting involved in everything and just soaking it all up. Like, I literally don't even know how to describe it. If you haven't been there, you need to go to experience it. But yeah, it's just fantastic, and kind of, it's, except for my bike mechanical where I couldn't finish a race, like, I've done loads of races in my career, and a lot of them have been terrible, but I've always walked or jogged it to the line. But obviously in 2017 I collapsed, and I just that I actually couldn't get to the line. And that was kind of haunting me quite a bit, to have that as my only race, which was a DNF. So it kind of felt like a massive step and achievement coming 23rd, even though if I kind of told you and talked to you through my race plan, it doesn't sound very race-like. So I can't wait to go back and actually race it properly one year. I kind of went with the mentality of kind of getting out into the right swim group and then just really chilling at the back of the pack so it didn't overheat. The water's really hot if you're unaware. So yeah, I was in the pack I wanted to be in, but I felt really chilled at the back. Felt like I was just literally on an easy swim, which was great. My bike was like, everyone's like, yeah, but you're just flying through the field. And I was like, no, I have no idea. Like, I was going so easy. Like, I was literally going easier than easy long rides I do here.
Really? So
yeah,
is that
like,
consciously or just...
Yeah, like a bit consciously. Like, I was where I wanted to be in the field anyway. And I was like, well, if this is what I can do for riding at these watts, great. I mean, I average more on my long rides than what I did in Kona. So I know there's 40-ish watts to come there, maybe 30 to 40 watts, when I can kind of really have belief, and I just had to get to the finish line.
So was that so consciously actually you wanted to maybe take it a little bit easier, not race it as hard as you are capable of, because you wanted to get to the finish.
Yeah.
So rather than throwing all of your dice into, right, I'm going to go for the highest place possible, actually I'm throwing it all into, I want to finish.
Yeah. Which I don't know, like I sit here now and reflect on groups I didn't go with, and I don't know whether that was a wise decision or not, and I'll never know, because I could have gone with that group. I might have been fine, might have gone and kind of overcooked, so then I would be kicking myself if I hadn't got to that line. So it might sound defeatist, but actually it was almost like a massive achievement getting to the line. And on the run I had a great time on Alley Drive for the first 6-7 miles, and then I don't know why, I got up Top Polani and literally like my legs just like ballooned and kind of like swelled up quite a lot.
Did you start to worry again then?
So then I was like, oh my god, because I've decided not to, I didn't even wear a watch on the run, so like I was like, oh right, how far have I got to go? And I saw and I was like, god, I think I've got 27k to go. So I was like, oh my god, there's still such a long way to go. So I was just like, right, this Queen K is going to eat me, but I'm not going to let it defeat me. So yeah, I got to the energy lab and I was like, oh, this is the bit everyone says they fade. And I don't know why, I just like felt amazing in the energy lab. I was like, oh, I feel really relaxed. And I felt okay, and I was like, do you know what? I could pick up back some spaces here. Because I came off, I think, the bike 14th, 15th, 16th, something. I was like, I might be able to pick back. And I was like, I was in the energy lab, I was soaking it all up, and then as soon as I came back out in the Queen K, I just went boom again. And I was like, oh, for goodness sake! I was like, oh, this is a long struggle home. So yeah, the Queen K literally chewed me. But up until the Queen K, I literally felt amazing. Like, I got off the bike and I was really happy. Like, I was like, every time I saw Robin Beck's, I was like sitting up and like waving. So like felt so, like the swim and the bike felt ridiculously chilled. And the first 7 miles of the run felt really great. So I've just got to get that last hour and a half-ish, I guess, because I felt okay in the energy lab. So just got to get that last back end of the race sorted. But definitely want to go back next time and race it properly and show my ability, which is, it's really hard because I knew I finished Kona. I was like, well, that doesn't show well that at all. It doesn't show the training I've put in. So it was a really hard decision then to be like, well, shall I end my season there or should I do another race and show where my fitness is at? But I was like, nah, like, I'm pleased to have got to line. Like, I loved Kona. I loved the experience and kind of like being with people there and just swimming with dolphins and turtles, and it's just like a really surreal place to be. So I was like, you know, I'm just going to leave it there. I know I'm starting my season early next year at the beginning of March. So I was like, and I'd like to have like a proper block of chill time. So I was like, if I carry on racing to December, it's going to be a slippery slope of them not having the time I want out because I know I need to be fit early season. So yeah, I'm pleased I made that decision. But yeah, it was a really weird one, end of my season fit. But it's also quite nice because like I've ended most of my seasons because of forced injury or niggles or illness or something. But it's really nice to be on my off season with no injuries and no illness. So yeah,
that's a great place to be in going into 2020.
I know. Yeah. So yeah, it's a good place to be. It means I can just go out for trail runs and stuff. Like this time last year, I was having injections in my ankle and had 3 months worth of completely off running and then getting back into running. That meant that I couldn't really do much S&C and I was kind of stuck in the pool, and now I can just do what I want.
So 2020 then, massive year in terms of Paralympics.
Yeah.
Is that the number one goal for you, to get you and Alison on that start line in one piece?
Oh, definitely, 100%. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. We start at the beginning of March in Abu Dhabi, if all goes well. So that'll be the start of the qualification process. So the official announcement whether Alison's qualified and whether I've been selected as a guide will be in June or July. So yeah, just that is the focus, and kind of get going as fast as possible. Alison's bought a really nice new tandem as well. Just can't wait to get on. So yeah, we're having a bike fit on it, but it's pretty much set up. So yeah, I can't wait to get on that. It's super nice.
And does that pretty much is going to dictate next year, the whole qualification process and the Paralympics?
Yeah, I mean, Alison's plan's laid out. Alison Beck's put that together in the team. So I'll look at where I need to peak for those races, and then fit a few races in. Not many, because we've got a lot of camps away, especially from July and August. If I was selected, we'd have camps and commitments. So at the beginning of the year, I'd put more races and just see. Hopefully we qualify, and hopefully I'm selected. So then, yeah, that announcement would be hopefully by the end of June. So we'll know more then. But yeah, so I think I might do an Ironman in April. I'm looking at Ironman Nice in June as well. I'd love to go back to Staffs, but I think Staffs only a week before Nice. I don't know if I could pull that off. I don't know. I'm probably saying this and Rob will kill me, but I'd love to be able to do that. I've done one. I always do 70.3 2 weeks out as part of like my last session almost, but a week out might be pushing it. So yeah, looking at that, and I'd love to go back to Paystack 70.3. There's so many races I want to do though. I've put a massive list down. I'm like, how can I choose? Frankfurt's also on the list, but
do you think some of them are going to have to wait until 2021?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, I've got about 10 races I want to do, but realistically I'll do 1 or 2 or 3. And then yeah, if Kona happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm already eyeing up races to qualify for 2021. Portugal, the new Ironman looks amazing at the end of September. I think Ironman Wales wouldn't fit. I can't wait to go back to Ironman Wales one year. But yeah, I'm already eyeing up potential races to qualify for 2021 if I don't at 1 or 2 of the Ironmans I'm able to do in between.
I love it. In Tokyo for the Olympics, obviously heat is going to be a major issue. Are you at all worried about that, given sort of what's happened in Kona previously, and the fact that you've said, loads, you are such a heavy sweater? Does it bother you?
No, to be honest, for the short distance, not at all. It's more the time in the sun. I've done loads of sessions in Florida and in Kona for like 3, 4, 5 hours where it's been absolutely fine. I've done sessions in Florida where I'm over 300 watts for quite a significant period of time. I feel fine. It's just the time in the sun, I think, for me. I mean, just any one time in that sun, heat and humidity is just grim. So yeah, so like, I don't have any worries for Tokyo. I'll be going. Well, luckily we're supported really well with the EIS and the practitioners and the physiologists there, so we'll be doing all the right heat preparation to make sure. But yeah, I'm more than expecting to go absolutely as hard as I can on the swim and bike, and doing everything on the run to get the best race. But yeah, it'd be a great year trying to qualify.
How does the heat prep differ between trying to prepare for the heat for Tokyo and trying to prepare for Kona? Is it the same?
It's more or less the same. Ideally, you'd want to go out to Kona or one of the closer islands, like, I don't know, a month before or something, and then drop into Kona, but that is seriously expensive. I mean, Kona itself, for the 2.5 weeks, is like, we've been engaged now for about coming into our 4th year, and we just keep spending it on triathlon. And like, Kona is literally nearly a wedding fund. It's just ridiculous. So like that engagement and that wedding's being like postponed and postponed and postponed. So yeah, putting Kona first. What's the question? Oh no, the difference. Oh yeah, so no, not massively, to be honest. There's some protocol for Kona, but the difference is that when I'm doing it for a guide, we're doing it at the IS, and it's monitored with temperature and like core temperature and very more specific stuff. Of here, I bought a garden tent and kind of replicated it in my house.
How did you do that then? Just tent up in the I don't know, conservatory or something? Or
Luckily, we're on a 3-floor house, so the top 2 floors are our home living, non-triathlon related. Downstairs is everything triathlon, and the garage everything triathlon. So we put a tent in my turbo room. My training room's pretty big, to be honest, which is lucky. Just put the garden tent in there, put an old training bike, my turbo, and a humidifier and a heater. I kid you not, though, in like half an hour that is steaming. You can get up to 90% humidity in no time and then control the temperature whilst you're in there.
That's very cool. As we are here right now, can you just show me your room, and then we are in. We've already had a cup of tea. We've had a piece of cake. Very nice, homemade Nikki Bartlett banana bread, delicious.
Not following a recipe.
Not following a recipe. Amazing. Made up.
Here is the training room, which we still haven't fully done yet, so it's a work in progress. But my dad's painted. If you go on my Instagram or Facebook or something account, you can see the Ironman logo trophy shelf. That it was actually at my parents', and they've moved it here because they're moving house. My dad was like, "Well, I'll just move the trophy cabinet here."
It's very, very cool. That is a lot of trophies there, and I bet the actual winner won.
Yeah, at the top. And my dad's always literally every race, every memorabilia he's put into scrapbooks. They're there as well from literally my first triathlon. It's a complete and utter chopper is in there, so it's actually really funny looking back. It's just a little bike room, and you can actually see a bit where the floor's lifted. I managed to do it as good as possible with like swapping towels and stuff.
I think you've done an alright job
there. I reckon so. Beck says, "Oh, you've wrecked it," and I was like, "It's a tiny lift," but I'll be doing tent stuff anyway in preparation for any races next year. So we're just gonna have to get changed the floor.
So basically, you spend a lot of time in this room.
Yeah, a loads of time. But the garden tent is away. The thought of getting that back out right now is not revealing.
Look who's just come over and say hello. Hello, Jodie Stimpson. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Good morning. Good morning.
Nice and bright and early. What time? So it's just coming up to 7:20 now. You said you've got to get in there, and if you're late in, you're going to have to do fly.
Yeah, you have to kind of be at briefing at 25 minutes past, otherwise you get a 50 flies, and they are quite strict on that, and I'm not in for 50 fly.
So you've got to keep your eye on the clock. Oh yeah, there it is. We can see it. It's nice and digital, so I'll let you go in time. So Jodie, how the devil are you?
Yeah, really well. Like anyone that kind of follows me on social media would see that I've just had an amazing family trip in Disney, and I didn't quite realise how much I needed that. I can't remember the last time I actually had a proper holiday, and I think mentally, this year has absolutely sucked, but it's been the most challenging mentally that I've had to deal with.
Even more challenging than Rio stuff and selections and...
Okay, maybe not that challenging. Maybe not compared to Rio, but just not competing and okay, it's been second most challenging year to deal with.
And are you feeling injury wise? How are you now?
Yeah, definitely. Everything's kind of. I'm running pain free, and it's such a relief to say that because at the end of last week, that's the first time I can actually say that this year.
So nearly, 10 months then?
Oh yeah, totally. It's been horrific, and to just I've hated this year, dreading starting runs and being in such discomfort running, and I can hear everyone saying, "Oh, but you shouldn't be running when it's painful." And I have been following everybody's medical, leadership to the T. So I am not an athlete that kind of does go out and go, "Oh no, I'm okay." I have followed it to the T, and it's it's different. It's when you have a tear, it's the fascia around it has to kind of remodel, and I've missed the consistency. So every time I get injured, it's just taking longer and longer for everything to remodel. And obviously then I've been offloaded for running for 3 months and cycling. Everything just shuts down, and then obviously that annoys the Achilles.
Yep.
So the last stage has just been strengthening that Achilles again. So yeah, I can finally say I'm running pain free, which what a relief.
That is amazing. And you're going to be doing Bahrain 7.3.
I am indeed, yeah. I'm so excited, but I'm fully aware I'm going to get my arse handed to me, but that's okay. going in, I'm healthy. I'm not necessarily fit yet, but I've still got another 5.5 weeks, and you can put some miles in then, and I'm going to go and have fun. As I said, this has been a massively long, or it will be a massively long winter block, the longest I've had, and I kind of needed something to halfway that, and kind of give that breather to kind of halfway 2019 going into 2020. So it's kind of a combination. I think it's it's a nice breather for the length of block I've got to do.
And are you going to be doing then more 70.3s?
Yeah,
is this the sort of the switch, do you think, to longer distance?
It's the start. I'm going to say it's the start. I want to, I'd love to qualify for New Zealand next year, so that's going to be a challenge for next year's races. But then I've got to get my arse back onto WTS starts, which my points are so low, I'm going to have to work to do that. And that's a challenge in itself. But then it's a good challenge because I get to race World Cups and stuff that I wouldn't necessarily get to race. So yeah, there's numerous different challenges that are exciting me going into next year, and it's just a really nice place to be in.
And it's not going to be your first 70.3. You did one a few years ago, didn't you?
2014, I did challenge Bahrain, and that was my first one. And again, I was amongst amazing athletes, Marinda Carfrey. I remember doing the run with Caroline Steffen, and we were running through a zoo, and it's it was and Jodie Swallow was on the start line. Helly Fredrickson won, I think. Rachel Joyce, among these amazing athletes, and I'm like, what? And to be fair, it's not going to be much different. I'm still going to be up against Holly Lawrence, which I raced against her when she did ITU. So I'm going to claim that I got her at ITU. So she can hand it to me this time.
Right, look, Jodie, you got 8 seconds. Go,
awesome.
go.
Thank you.
So Rob, Jodie didn't have to do the 50 fly to start off because I made sure that she got to poolside on time. 8 seconds to spare, ever the pro. But do you think that's a great idea so their swim starts at 7:30 and you have to be poolside at 7:25, and they decided amongst themselves that if you are not poolside at 7:25, you have to start off with 50 metres fly.
Extra punishment.
Yes, to stop everyone from... Do you think that's a great idea?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So there you go. So no, it was very cool to be able to catch up with Jodie and Nikki and see what goes on in Loughborough and stuff like that. It was
great.
Cool.
And we'll look forward to hearing the interview with Jodie Peasgood and find out more about that in the coming weeks.
Yep.
Okie dokie. Coach's Couch this week. We've had a question from someone we're going to call Anonymous in our Facebook group. To protect the innocent.
Well, poor Anonymous sounds like they're having a bit of a rubbish week or two lately. I've been fighting the worst flu of my life, so I've missed loads of sessions this last week. I tried to do my FTP session today. I got halfway and I was absolutely done. I feel like I'm getting better today, so shall I try again tomorrow?
Oh, hells. We have so many posts about people being sick at this time of year. It really seems like as we start to get into winter, the flu season really kicks off as well. And it's hard, isn't it?
No, yeah.
It's really hard. We were chatting before the show, weren't we, and saying this is one of those things that it sounds like it's an obvious answer, but we, like Lionel, we get obsessed with the small details, and we get obsessed with, if I want to be fit for my race next year, I have to train. And we lose sight of the bigger picture, which is that you can't get fit if you're not healthy, and you can't get healthy if you put in massive stress on your body by training at the same time. So the answer to this one's really obvious. It's that no, you're not going to do your FTP session again today. Take some days of rest. And I wanted to raise it with all the listeners and just say, look, give yourself permission to take the time to get well again, even if it takes 1 week or 2 weeks to completely get over whatever illness you have. Just take that time off and concentrate on things like, if you would have spent an hour training, have that extra hour in bed, spend the time taking extra vitamins. No, don't do stuff like strength and conditioning. No, don't do yoga. No, don't go to Pilates. Don't have the sort of, well, if I'm not training, I'll replace it with, the follow-up to this question was, should I do some weights or some Pilates then as I'm not training? And it becomes a kind of, no, it's okay. It's not just okay to rest. This is the thing that you need to do in order to get better, in order to get fit. So
And if you put that, it's almost like if you put that in Training Peaks as a session,
exactly,
someone
turn the box green.
Exactly, pulled out all the rest and
Exactly
put in
that.
6 hours or 2 hours, whatever it is, 6 hours lying on the settee, sleeping, making sure you're hydrated, and then if you could turn that and you could turn that green, you'd be like, yeah, I'll do that.
Exactly the advice to a lot of people is, especially if I've got athletes coming back from an injury, the sessions in their planner will be prehab session, 5 minutes, do, negative calf raises on the stairs. And it sounds ridiculous, but that's a thing that you can do. The going to bed early is a thing you can do. And if your brain works on, I want to take a goal off today, make that the goal that's going to be the thing that gets you to do the thing you need to do. So, yeah, if you're ill, if you're injured at the moment, you can't get better by trying to train on it. You have to do the things that are going to support your recovery. And we are worse than everybody at this. Well, not you, Hels. You're quite good at this. I'm the worst person in the world at it. So learn from my mistakes.
Yeah,
you were always very good, weren't you? At I know what I need to do to get better. Prehab, whatever it was, you always really focused in on the things that you needed to do rather than the things that you couldn't do.
Definitely, because I think you think bigger picture,
yeah.
And I think I think I probably wasn't very good at it to begin with, because I think you have to get your head around what we've just said.
Yeah.
And as soon as you realise that actually take the time off now and be better next week, rather than trying to push through now and be out for a month.
Exactly.
And I think that once I was like, oh, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, even now, sometimes you'd say, oh, I'm absolutely knackered. And it is still that, do I just skip it, or, do I just sort of do it?
Yeah.
And it is always but I just think, listen to your body. And if you've been really, really sick, have a rest. Don't be stupid.
That's a difficult thing, isn't it? That we, as triathletes, we spend so much time getting ourselves up to do stuff when we're tired, and driving to the pool at 5:30 feeling exhausted, and then you get there and you feel fine. You have that mindset of getting stuff done regardless. It's getting that line in your head between fatigue and
being ill.
Yeah.
And honestly,
definitely.
if you've been ill, don't be stupid.
Yeah.
There's my top tip this morning.
Get that on a t-shirt. I love that.
Yeah, don't be stupid. Just take the time. It's going to pay off in the long run.
Yeah.
Okay. Just come out the Facebook group for a week. Just don't even go in there. Just surround yourself with non-triathlete stuff. Focus on getting better, and then go back in there when you're flying and you're happy to talk triathlon, and you can compare yourself to others and all the kind of stuff that we do. But at the moment, just forget it and focus on getting better.
Or go in there and the other 3 or 4 people who are also sick commiserate and go, yeah, we can all support each other in what we need to do in order to get well. Yeah, it sucks, but well done you for getting to bed early. No one ever posts that, do they? Hey, guess what? I had an extra 2 hours of sleep. That's genius. All right, good stuff. So listen, if you're interested in finding out more about coaching with Team Oxygen Addict, there's a link in the show notes. Pop your email in there and I'll email you to work out a time that works for us both to have a chat over Skype, and we'll see if we can help you out. All right, Hels, news this week. We're sponsored by Precision Hydration. So remember, guys, we've talked a lot here about how I think Precision Hydration could help out everyone, even pros like Lionel Sanders at the very, very top level. Please get in touch with them, Lionel. For you guys, if you haven't tried it, you can get £9.99 worth of free product using the code Oxygen Addict. You can take their online sweat test to see if you're a particularly heavy or a particularly salty sweater, and if it looks like you are, you can get to see them in person and find out exactly those numbers. If you're a person like me or Lionel who the electrolyte balance and hydration ruins your race, they can really, really help you out by giving you a strategy that takes away the guesswork and knowing exactly what you've got to take in every hour. So bits of news, Hels, what have you seen happening this week?
Yeah, so first of all, 70.3 Dunleary is no longer, Rob.
No, it's gone.
No, I think numbers had dropped. So, yep, that is no longer going to be going ahead. And obviously there is Ironman Cork going ahead next year, so there is still events going on in Ireland, but no more Dun Laoghaire for next year, which is a shame, a real shame for the team. But I mean, with all the other races that there've been so many being announced recently as well, haven't there, for next year, that I guess sometimes some races have to go, and then others come.
A racer in Ireland who wanted a 70.3 to prepare for Cork. Yeah, it's a tough one.
So that's a bit annoying. And then I've read as well that the triathlon at next summer's Olympics, they are going to bring they're looking at bringing the time forward, the start time, because of the heat. So
now reminds me, the test event there, didn't something happen with the run distances because it was so hot? I think at the test event, they ended up just on the day cutting the run to 5k because it was loads of photos of athletes like melting over the officials at the finish line because it was.
Yep.
How hot's it going to be out there, Hels?
Oh, it's part of the problem is the humidity.
Right. Okay.
As well.
Super hot and super humid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, super hot. So, in a way, similar to like the conditions in, like I was talking to Nikki about the heat prep stuff. I think in her interview she mentioned it as well, that yes, all the heat work that she would have done for Kona, she was also doing because of test events and having to get ready for those. But basically it's scheduled to begin at the moment at 7:30, and they're looking at bringing that forward to 6:30 in the morning.
Right, okay. I'm going to Google now. 6:30 a.m. in Tokyo.
Yep. On the 27th, 28th of July?
It's 9:30 in the UK in the evening. So we get to watch an evening race.
Perfect.
Yeah. So sorry, athletes having to get up early for the Olympics, but at least it's good for us watching.
So there we go. So there's those two bits of news, and then just the third bit of news is that Christian Blumenfeld's trophy is still up for grabs to help raise money for Move charity. So if you head to justgiving.com/fundraising/favourite Norwegian, it's his signed runners-up Super League trophy from Malta. The story about why it's up there is on that website, and I think we're near 600 quid now, Rob.
Fantastic.
Which is really cool. So
two things about that, Helen, right? First thing is, if you're anything like me, trying to spell favourite Norwegian is two of the hardest words in the world.
Oh, come on, but I put it that because I figured
no one else has got it, I know.
No, because I thought, who's going to be able to spell Christian Blumenfeld? That's why I put favourite Norwegian.
So anyway, there's a link in the show notes. That's what I was going to say. Just click on the link in the show notes and it'll take you straight to the page if you're like me and you can't spell. They've got until midnight on November the 30th, so you've still got probably 3 weeks to get in on that. It's an awesome trophy, isn't it? It'll look brilliant in your boardroom. It'll look brilliant in your training room.
It would look very cool. It's currently on, cool. Which it will. I'm just housing it for a while, and then whoever wins it, I will be posting it out. But yeah, it's currently looking quite nice on the mantelpiece in the lounge. So there you go. So yeah, we're over £600 now, which is amazing. And
we want 800, don't we? Come on,
we want 800. Because basically, it costs £400 for Move charity. So that's the charity that I work for as a cancer and exercise rehab specialist, to support a young person between 13 and 30 for 8 weeks to help them build up their fitness and their strength during or following cancer treatment. So the money goes to the most amazing charity, and look, everyone's been incredible getting behind it, and I'm very, very grateful. And I know that Christian is really pretty chuffed as well that we've raised so much so far, so over 600 quid. So yes, go to the show notes or head to justgiving.com/fundraising/favourite Norwegian. You make a donation and then you'll be put into a raffle to win the signed trophy.
Love it. And you get 10 entries for every 10 quid you donate. But why give 10 when you can give 50? That's always been my opinion, Hells. Let's get some...
Someone has given 50.
Love it. Love it, guys. Come on. We've got over 12,000 listeners, so we're going to be able to raise some serious cash for Helen. Or for Helen's charity. I think maybe we can get to 3 or 4 sets of people, Hells. Come on, listeners. Get your wallets out.
Let's see. Yep.
Let's see how we go. All right, cool. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of today's show, doesn't it, Hells?
I think it does.
Zooming off to be busy today.
Zooming off to be busy, which in plain English means yes, I'm jumping on a train to London.
Love it. You are a lunatic. It's not even 8 a.m. yet, listeners. Hells is about to go and get on a train to go to work in London from Cheshire. You think you've got a busy day? Get on it. All right, so let's wrap this up. Thanks everyone for listening. You've been listening to the Oxygen Addict Triathlon podcast. I'm Coach Rob Wilby.
I'm Helen Murray.
Thanks to our sponsors, precisionhydration.com and thriver.co. You can click those links in the show notes. Remember to get over to justgiving.com/fundraising/favourite Norwegian to donate to get a chance to win the trophy there. And until next week, have a great, safe training and racing week, everyone. We'll speak to you all again soon. Cheers now. See ya.